I've heard complaints that there are no actual Sentinels in this series, but I have to ask, did anyone actually expect giant purple robots? I think the Sentinel services are pretty scary just as is. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Gifted, Episode 4, Exit Strategy. It's gonna be the whole season with those X's, isn't it? I'm extremely disappointed. This episode was, as the others have been, pretty heavy as well. In fact, with Supergirl the way it was this week, I kind of feel kind of bad that now we're talking about child soldiers and implanted memories and whether or not mutants need to be registered because of the fact of how dangerous they are. For those of you that don't know, I do theory videos every Sunday on how and why we tell stories and bits about them, but I also do reviews as things come up. If that sounds interesting, click that subscribe button now, because we're going to get into this. And before we do, we're going to talk about one of those Sunday videos, because a couple months ago I did this whole thing about what is the nature of a memory, what's the difference between nature and nurture. And well, since we're talking about people implanting memories here, I do want to just say, we do it all the time. We can create false memories, we lie to ourselves, we lie to others, which gives them false memories. It's actually way too easy, and that's without mutant powers. The mutant powers just make it even scarier, because you can force these on someone. And that's one of those things we're going to have to unpack tonight, but we're also going to have to talk about what it means to be a family, and what it means to have a child soldier, because that word gets thrown around in here. And it's one of those things that could trigger someone, so fair warning. We're going in the deep end here, although, like I said before, Gifted kinda has been in the deep end. But let's throw this up there before we get started. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. Okay, so, we're just the people that have seen the episode already, right? Well, even if you didn't see it, Exit Strategy is all about how to get the two people who are in prison out. And that's a pretty hard task when it's Sentinel services you're going against. And as they talk about it, the fact is that they need to be able to stop the car. And to be able to stop it, that means using kids who are untrained, uncombat ready. Yeah, child soldiers. Or maybe you know them better as sidekicks. Or sometimes, even the superhero themselves. So yeah, it was their mother that pointed that out. And that makes sense that she's the one most concerned. But let's be honest. To get the two that are in prison out of prison, they really didn't have much of a choice. In fact, even this tactic sounds pretty damn near sketchy. We're going to stop the truck, we're going to try to teleport through the truck, we're going to fight off Sentinel services to get two people. Now, yeah, one of them is important because she's the Master of Magnetism. Well, maybe the Master of Magnetism's daughter, I'm not entirely sure. And yeah, someone there loves her. But let's talk about that for a minute, too. How much would you sell your soul for someone you love? How much would you do? Would you go back to a life of crime? Would you torture someone? I mean, in this particular case, he was able to get around it with the threat of torture. But realistically, how long is that going to hold out if every time she calls he's supposed to jump? And all of it is dealing with an ex-girlfriend for a current girlfriend. Pretty sketchy stuff if you ask me. Of course, the other moment is before the fight really breaks out, when the daughter's standing there and says, it's Sunday. Like, if this were any other time, if everything hadn't gone sideways, what a normal life we'd be leading now. Of course, that's also part of this. The fact that they can't lead normal lives anymore. Normal's been stolen from them because of the way they were born. Slightly different. The other. And overall, the theme of whether or not the government's stepping over its authority is, of course, something we're going to deal with throughout the entire series, most likely, at the very least, this season. And as we deal with that, the question becomes, what are Sentinel services doing, and what are they capable of, and how much of what they're talking about is reasonable? Now, they had a mutant tonight that could shut down other mutants. His name is Pulse. I guess he's from the comics too, but I don't know him. I'll be honest, I haven't read every X title. But when I was reading, Leech was the one that could do it. Well, and Rogue. And, well, to a certain extent, Sync. But whoever this character is, he didn't seem to be working on his own, and that tattoo might mean something. I wonder if both sides are playing with implanted memories. Now, we really got a good look at that with how Blink's acting around the other characters. Point blank, she doesn't even trust her own mind. It doesn't know what to say or do. And of course, no one's telling her, oh yeah, we have a telepath that totally mentally violated you. But it was for a good reason, right? Because that's always the caveat, right? It was for a good reason that we made you love another character. So, with that in mind, we have the fact that we can see that mutants are dangerous, and that final firefight with Polaris really going all out really showcased it. I knew that the pin in the knee wasn't just a throwaway line in the first episode, but it wasn't until she said there's no metal in here that I sat there and said, oh, there's some metal in here, and he's going to willingly let her do it. That's crazy. I mean, the fact that he could walk at all after that was pretty amazing. But we saw the photonic energy being thrown around. We saw what Warbird was capable of. Not to mention the two kids with their telekinetic, slightly different types of telekinesis. And I mean, that was all badass. Keep in mind when the powers were down, the mom had to come in and save the day with a syringe to the neck. But even still, that's the difference. A syringe to the neck was pretty badass. But think about what those telekinetics could do. Or think about what that photonic energy could do. In fact, if you remember correctly, a couple episodes ago they were talking about what mutant siblings are capable of. I'm wondering if they're going to go the route of they amplify each other's powers instead of they're immune to each other's powers. And if so, if we're looking at a true Master Blaster situation here, where these two together form more than the sum of their parts. And if that's true, how important they are. Now, next week we're going to deal with whatever this July 15th incident is and whether or not the X-Men still exist in this world, or at least I hope so. As we find out more about Sentinel services and all the craziness that has to do with them, and that project that's working that wants to get their hands on the two mutant siblings. For now, though, the show is still blowing me away in the way that it can handle such complex issues and still seem like an adult drama without kidifying anything, but also not feel so, ugh, and just draggy. It still has that comic book feel. Then again, it's based on a pretty popular comic book. So, those were my thoughts. Why don't you let me know what yours are down in the comment section below. On the Orville, we not only got to do an episode review where I talked about all the different comments we got, but I got to call out those that were commenting from the beginning. So if you're interested in doing that, leave down in the comments something for me to react to and talk back about. Like I said, I'm enjoying The Gifted and I hope you are too. But I also hope you're enjoying these talks, because I need you to hit that like button and share this video with your friends and family. It really helps the channel out and lets me get a few new viewers, hopefully. And of course, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button to join the community here, where we're going to examine how, why, and all sorts of details about the stories. Like I said, this week, the memory story and my superhero story information about sidekicks both got brought up. I'm sure we're going to talk about these things a lot. But for now, I hope you have a good night, and thank you for walking with me through the heart of the story of Gifted.